Hello and good day to you. Welcome. It's Andy here and Talkin really. And as you know, if you've been watching this channel for a long time, you'll know that I don't stand any on ceremony about the system that we live in. And if you're a believer in it, then you'll understand what I'm saying. If you don't believe me, then that's fair enough. But I do recommend go and do some research, because it is a system that we live in. We are brought up from children and we are in this system and basically indoctrinated to believe everything we're told. Where do we learn stuff about the world? We learn it at school, right? So you could argue that your whole 12 years of life is you're indoctrinated, you're brainwashed into believing whatever you're told. There's a couple of videos I want to show you, and they refer to school, and it's quite shocking because I didn't understand about school and how it's not compulsory for you to go. And you'll be going, what? What? You have to go to school? It's legal. You have to. It's a legal requirement. No, it's not, because there's lots of things in this system and this life that we live that is believed to be true and compulsory, and you must do it. But if you understand about the system and control, and you were just about contract, that it's an offer. They make an offer. Would you like to go to school? Okay, we'll go to school, because everybody else does it. Everybody else, not very many people, don't go to school. It's a thing that you do. But also, what happens is they don't make it very easy for you to opt out. And as soon as you opt out, then the pressure starts. It's like everything in the system itself, that you have this pressure. So if you don't want something and you say no, I don't want it, is when they start with, you must have it. Everybody else has got it. You really should have it. I'm thinking specifically the last 3 years. I'm not going to mention it because I can't mention it, but you know exactly what I'm on about. So the whole system of control in your life, if you could argue, there's other ways of describing it, which I won't talk about because I can't. However, school, I saw this video first of all, and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, that makes sense. It's a system that they will fine you if you take your children out of school and you want to go on holiday, for example, and you want to go at a cheap rate, because we all know they put the price up. School holidays, price doubles, and we all know that. But it's basically kind of economics. It's the market share, demand, supply and demand.
So I've just been told at school that to take my kids out of school, I need to be authorised. That's like the worst thing you could say to me. Has anybody got experience of this? What it is, I've decided that I'm taking my children out of school for a month at Christmas because I'm going to work in Dubai. That's my plan. So I've just been told by the receptionist at the school that I need to be authorised, right? And if they think, right, they're going to authorise me, authorise this, right? Absolutely no chance. So I want to know, people in the comments, right, if anybody has ever had to be authorised. You work all your life to be authorised. They could absolutely do one.
When you look at it, and you listen to this lady, obviously she must have some info and data and facts. But school is one of those things that is not actually compulsory.
It is absolutely outrageous to me that parents don't get told before their child goes to school that they don't have to send them to school. The question that we're asked is, which school do you want your child to go to? It's not, do you want your child to go to school? Home education is 100% legal. It is actually the legal default because school is an opt-in process. That means that if you don't opt into school, if you don't apply for and accept a school place, you are legally by default home educating. If you didn't know this, here's some facts about home ed. You don't have to follow the national curriculum or any curriculum. You don't have to do it structured. You don't have to have a routine or a schedule. You certainly don't have to do workbooks or sit at a desk. There are plenty of opportunities for socialisation. You just need to find them or make them. Children who are home educated can still do GCSEs, A-levels, go to uni, all that jazz. There are plenty of free resources. It doesn't cost a thing if you don't want it to. There's a massive home education community. We're talking in the hundreds of thousands now, probably. You don't have to have meetings with the local authority. They will check up on you and you can provide a written report. If you want to deregister your child, it takes one letter or email if they're in a mainstream school in England or Wales. It is an instruction, not a request. They can't refuse you. If you need more info, follow me, grab my quick start guide. It's completely free at the top of my page.
I would say 99.9% people would comply, and they would check in their little darlings, and they would put them in school. And then, of course, then they're stuck there until they're 16, 17, whatever, and then they have to suffer the indignation of brainwashing. But as we know, they've been doing some stuff which is coming from various organisations, such as the UN. And when they're teaching you in school this stuff, I mean, it's just beyond belief, really, isn't it?
If you're one of these people who doesn't believe that there's an agenda to indoctrinate the minds of our children from a young age, starting in the schools, you need to watch this clip.
If I tell you, said Thomas, you might not be my friend anymore. I'll always be your friend, Thomas. Thomas the teddy took a deep breath. I need to be myself, Errol. In my heart, I've always known that I'm a girl teddy, not a boy teddy. I wish my name was Tilly, not Thomas.
What child at the age of, I don't know, 6 or 7 needs to know how to play with themselves? I mean, you know, playing with dolls and Lego, fair enough. But why do they need to have this in school? It puts people into a position where if they don't know about it, then they can't do anything about it. But if you do, please bear in mind that this is the national coming down from the top, so government, and then above them is places like the UN, and they are dictating this whole thing worldwide. So it's not just a UK thing. So you see, it's quite dangerous, and having your child brainwashed and indoctrinated over the course of 12 years, they're going to come out the other end part of the system, and they're going to be compliant with the system, and they're going to just carry on doing what we've all been doing because we were part of the system. But actually, you don't need to, and there'll be some people going, well, I work, I can't be at home all day with my children, blah, blah, blah. I can't be teaching them myself because I don't know anything. I'm not educated. I really couldn't teach anybody anything. But it's not about teaching a particular curriculum, because the curriculum and all of that, if you go right the way back, we're talking about Rockefeller. You've probably heard of him. Very influential in this whole situation that we're in and the system that we're in. And if you delve back into the history of time, you'll see that it was him that set up the education system, because they wanted to train people into being very compliant and workers. They don't want people to think for themselves. They don't want critical thinking. They don't want brainy people to come out with the idea that there is a system. They don't want people sort of spilling the beans, as it were. Which is why a lot of people who are very educated, very sort of intelligent, they don't get on with school because they're not learning anything. I mean, they can't teach you anything if basically it's just one idea that they've got with the indoctrination. You have to bear in mind that this is a system that we're in, and the only way to change it is for you to understand what's going on and then change it in your own family.
Study that was done in the 1960s, and it was really commissioned by NASA because they wanted to know how to hire more geniuses. So they hired George Land and his team to go out and figure out like what makes a genius. So they started with a group of 5-year-olds and they gave them a creativity test. So the way they defined genius was, how do you use your creative imagination to solve problems? And what they found was, of this group of 5-year-olds, 98% qualified as geniuses. Then they came back 5 years later when this group was 10 years old, and it was down to 30%. 5 years later at 15, it was down to 12%. And then I think they just kind of gave up in like disgust. But George Land took it further and went out and surveyed adults and found that only 2% of adults. And the thing that's also very interesting is he attributed this to school. 100% to school, that you would take a population, 98% genius, and dumb them down to 2%. And one of his quotes that I love is he said, uncreative behavior and thinking is learned.
So if you have children, think about it. There are things in the world that we're in, the system, that are not true. And a lot of them are, basically a lot of things which we think is true or compulsory. You must do it. You don't actually have to do it because it's not compulsory and it's not true. So there we go. Hope that was useful for you, and the idea is to get you to think about it and investigate. Right, so that's it. Have a good day. Bye for now.